Hello, everybody out there, and welcome or welcome back to the reading room for another episode of AIMBOT. I'm morally bankrupt or them. Today, as you probably noticed, we have a very, very special guest. It is my wonderful wife, Lynn, joining us for AIMBOT to salve my broken voice, which sort of breaks down halfway from the constant talking. So, how are you, my darling? How are you doing?
I'm well. I am well.
You're well? Oh, that's good.
Always. Yeah.
It is a Wednesday morning, so we're a little bit
Mhm.
out of it. I've got a coffee.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Lynn has fueled up on banana and love,
Tea.
and we're ready to. Oh, you've got a coffee as well. Yeah,
I've
okay,
got a
fair enough.
tea.
That's fair.
Mhm.
Oh, you've got a tea. Okay, no,
Mhm.
that's fair. That's fair.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're going into, if you've never joined us before for AIMBOT, we're going into moral situations on Am I the Arsehole on Reddit, and we're evaluating them for who's right, who's wrong, who's moral, who's immoral. And before you get upset, this is consensual judging. These people are asking to be judged on their
Mhm.
actions, and I, for one, am quite happy to oblige. But really, I'm trying to apply secular humanism. I'm not
Mhm.
sure. Is there any particular moral system that you favor, Lynn, or is it just sort of moral intuition? Do you just go with your gut?
Um. Well, I would default to humanism, secular humanism.
Mm,
I don't know. I don't really. I don't know what my actual moral compass, what you would call it. I guess it was just
right.
standard.
Standard?
Bearing in mind that we probably have a stronger sense of injustice than some people.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
So, yeah. And so injustice generally is sort of lack of reciprocity or lack of
Yeah.
equality
Or lack of
or equity.
humanity. Yeah. Or
Lack of
just.
humanity. Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. And I think sort of informed by empathy as well. I know that you are very, very empathetic towards
Mhm.
people.
Yes.
Yeah, so things really get your goat when people are being treated unfairly, and I do know that.
Mm. Yes.
Yeah, so let's start off with our first consensual judging. Yeah, I know. Look, well, it kind of
Consenting. Mhm.
it kind of, like I was saying one time, like, try
Mm.
not to judge people kind of thing. And then I realized I did aimbot where all I did was
Mm.
judge people. I get what you're saying, but
Mhm.
it is consensual in this case, because if it wasn't, people wouldn't put it on the Reddit and ask for people to do so. So I
Right.
think it's
Yeah.
more than
They're
fair.
participating in the act of being judged.
Yeah, they're actually soliciting judgment in this case,
Mhm.
so I think it's more than fair. I guess
Right.
that's the first
Yeah.
thing I would say.
Yeah.
So first off, I did have this up earlier, which is just terrible.
Mhm.
But first up is prudent seesaw, because I
Mhm.
mean, when you have a seesaw, it's got to be prudent, right?
I only sit on prudent seesaws. I reject all other seesaws.
The imprudent ones, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha. Yep. Am I the arsehole for telling my mum's family I don't owe her because she had gender disappointment? Straight off the bat, I'm kind of like,
Mm.
no.
No,
Like,
that's my gut instinct is to say absolutely not.
right? Like,
Mhm.
if they're expecting you to do something that you don't want to do, and you're saying,
Mm.
"Hey, I don't owe you because you expected some other gender," that's
Mhm.
yeah, that's not your problem, quite frankly.
Right. Correct.
And I don't see why it's morally bankrupt to say so.
No. Yeah. Well,
So
yeah. They've. It's weird. Recently, they've done studies on this on disappointment for having solely like X amount of boys or girls, and
right.
they've done studies on how
Mm.
people react to that. And I always felt like it's a bit. Are we really studying this about the whole thing?
Well, it
Yeah.
yes, because it does
Mm.
happen, right? So
Mhm.
I guess what they're trying to do is figure out how it affects the children. Like, they don't care about the parents. We're not gonna
Mm.
try and help them. It's just, how do we help the children that are under,
Well, no, no. This was actually this was studies on how the parent reacted and how to help the parent deal with it because it was a lifelong disappointment thing.
yeah.
So
Well,
they've looked at it on both sides.
okay. Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't particularly see what's wrong with that, sort
Mm.
of. So, you know. You know, I don't see what's wrong with that, because if you can, you know, help people get over that disappointment and love their children, I don't see the problem there.
No, that's true.
I guess, you know, I guess when it comes to these kind of phenomenon, or these syndromes kind of thing, it's like, you know, studying why people have job disappointment or why people have
Yeah.
disappointment in their lives. I think it's helpful,
No,
but
okay.
yeah, I'm more concerned about how it affects the children than how it affects the parents, to be honest
Right.
with you.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it must be horrible in that situation.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Do we need to have empathy for people without empathy? I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
It helps. Well, yeah, I think so. Because then you're not treating everyone fairly.
Well, they're never going to develop any empathy if they're
No.
not with empathy.
No.
I
But
think
if you're not treating everybody the same, well, then you're not being equitable about.
Well, I think
Yeah.
empathy is more about feeling what they feel, you know, seeing things
Yeah.
through their perspective kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I get your point. Maybe we shouldn't be too empathic towards those who really don't give a crap about other people. Like, I get where you're coming from.
Mm.
Um, my mum never wanted a boy; she wanted girls. I That statement, you know, like seriously. I love this. I love this comment. Blame the dad. He's the donut. That's true. That is true.
Yeah. Okay. So
The
that's
mother's
very
always going to give an X chromosome.
okay. Yeah.
Just
Fair
saying.
point.
That's the guy that gives either the X or the Y. So technically,
Okay.
yes, it's his
Yeah.
fault. Uh,
Fair.
I hate that Jedi. It's a good comment, but I hate it.
No.
Thanks, I hate it. Yeah, because obviously he doesn't have control over it. But yeah, she wanted to go. Like, how you can realistically go, well, I want this sex out of my children, when really it is just a coin flip of
Yes.
you know,
It's
which,
highly, yeah, it's unreasonable to demand something of something so,
yeah,
yeah, open to chance. I think it's like I
apparently
want to win the lottery. That's up to chance. So
right.
yeah.
Apparently her dream was 4 daughters.
Hmm.
You're flipping a coin 4 times and expecting
Right.
4 heads. I think that's
Hmm.
really unrealistic. I mean, it could
Yes.
happen, but you know, it's unlikely.
Hmm.
It's literally unlikely.
Right. Yeah.
But she had me, a 16 male, first.
Hmm.
I have seen photos and videos of the day I was born. She cried hysterically when they told her I was a boy. Then she refused to hold me. Oh my God, that's traumatic.
Yeah.
Um,
Afterwards.
yeah.
Mm.
After we
And
were cleaned up, she cried about not using the name she had chosen and didn't know how to move on from it. What the fuck?
hmm. So you've documented her reaction, and you've obviously made the kid watch it, which is even more unfair. I think
Well, I don't know about made, but they've definitely
it,
seen it, you know.
yeah, like that you shouldn't be, like if that's your parents' first reaction to you physically being in the world, and she
Yeah.
hasn't, obviously checked beforehand, so she wanted to surprise
Mm.
herself clearly, and it was a bad surprise, and then you've got 16 years worth of dealing with her disappointment, and
Where is the father as well? Maybe the father wasn't in the
I,
picture. It happens.
I don't know. I
Mm.
probably might get there. I don't know.
Maybe there's some trauma from the mum about men, so they
Yeah,
haven't. Yeah,
I've heard that before as well. Like some
yeah,
people are just,
perhaps.
if I ever have a boy, I'm disowning him basically. Like, or if I find out it's a boy, I'll literally terminate the pregnancy. Like I've heard women say that specifically.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very
that's awful.
disturbing. Yeah.
Um, all of this was caught on camera. Eventually, my paternal grandmother, so that's his dad's mother,
Yeah.
took me, and she was the person to hold me in videos and photos taken during the rest of the hospital stay. So this sentence makes me question, because if the
Right.
paternal grandmother is in it,
Hmm.
where's the dad? Because
Yeah.
that's the dad's mother. So
Right.
that's odd.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah. I'm not sure. It's an interesting question.
My paternal grandma was my sole parent figure for the first 8 years of
Wow.
my life. She took care of me and I spent so much time at her house. Sometimes I was there for weeks. Then she had a brain bleed and died. Oh, god damn.
Okay.
So I was left with a mum who wanted girls and not a boy, and a dad who wanted to be a provider and nothing more. Okay, so the dad is emotionally checked out at this point. Oh, this poor person.
Yeah, this is already
Wow.
awful for them. Yeah, how would you feel?
Who is the guest? Wait, who are you again? I've forgotten.
Me?
Yeah.
I just live here. I squat here. I showed up one day and then you just refused to kick me out. So
yeah, I know. I like cute things. This is my wife.
Aww.
This is my lovely waifu. My mum, and that's Robin, who is one of my an amazing mod and just an awesome person.
Robin, hello. Sorry.
That's okay. No, wave at my chat. They probably will like you a lot more than they like me. My mum had a sister, my sister Lily, 2 years after me. Oh god, this gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
So mum got her girl and Lily got all her attention, while I got grandma until I was 8 and then nobody.
Wow. Okay.
My mum and Lily are super close, and mum adores Lily. Lily got the bigger bedroom, she gets the gifts, she gets all the favorite snacks, she gets to do all the extracurricular activities she could ever want, and her birthday's a huge party with huge gifts. Christmas, she gets at minimum 25 gifts from mum alone. Mum typically gets me one, never anything I'd like or want, but it's a thought that counts, which is 0. Oh, that's
correct. That's
but
how could nobody else see this? Like, how could everybody else in the family not go, why have you? I mean, my mum's obsessed, absolutely obsessed with, well, and still is, with giving me and my brother exactly the same gifts for the same bunch.
Yeah, my parents were the same. Yeah,
so that was
my brother and I. Yeah.
So if you're sitting in a room with your two kids, and you see one of them getting tons, like well after they're the age that you give tons of gifts to, and then the son gets one, do you not question that at least mentally and go,
well,
okay, what's the rationale behind that?
Who else is in the family?
It
So
sounds
the
like,
dad's
doesn't
emotionally checked out, doesn't have any more children. The grandma's now gone. I'd imagine the grandma probably said something, but she's now gone. So who would be the one to actually draw attention to this?
Right.
I'm kind of really
outside.
Right. I'm really annoyed at the father. He just doesn't care, and you're right. Jedi, you're not right in your assumption. It's not Cinderella because she had stepsisters, not an actual sister.
Cinderella.
My mum's family don't act too interested in making up for my lack of parental love, and in the last couple of years, mum and I have argued more, and I give her a hard time. Dad's never around to give him one.
Okay.
But mum, if she wants to ignore me, she can hear how shitty it is, and if she wants to treat my sister like a perfect angel, then she can hear about it. Mum has mentioned how I ruined her dream of 4 daughters. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a heavy something
abusive.
to lay on.
That's
Yeah,
abusive.
it really is.
That's emotional abuse. That's something that puts people in therapy for life. I'm sorry. Like, you can feel that all you want. You can have that feeling. You do not say it to the person who has no control over that.
Right. That's not right.
No.
We're at mum's parents' house Friday, and mum gushed about Lily doing good on a project and the scooter she got Lily to help her get around easier. She got Lily a custom helmet and a personalized lock for her scooter. She couldn't stop talking about it, and I told her she really does love to shower her favorite in gifts and praise. My mum's family told me I should take it easier on her, and I said I should understand we had some little troubles because of mum's gender disappointment. I told them I don't owe her shit because she had this gender disappointment and that I didn't ask to be born to a mum who wanted only daughters. They told me I lacked adult understanding and compassion.
But you're 16.
Well, and,
develop that.
Well, I don't think it's a lack of understanding and compassion. I think they understand quite accurately. And, I don't know about compassion, but being treated like crap because of your mother's gender disappointment is not something you have to be compassionate about.
No. because this is a bigger trend that you sort of see with these gender reveal parties, and you see the dad reacting badly, and everyone picks on the dad, or mum gets
Right, right,
upset because they're putting that much weight even before a kid is born into, like, you're disappointed the minute you know what gender they are.
right.
You've set that kid up for failure effectively. Like, right out of the gate, this kid's just on the, like, is
Yeah,
not
it's
going to
not
get
good.
it. Like, so their reaction is completely valid, and I think the family are awful, and I think the family are putting too much weight on her feelings, which is in this case unreasonable. So I don't think I wouldn't dare call this person an arsehole at all. I'd be worried if they didn't have this level of reaction and just accepted
Yeah,
it.
I think it's quite a light reaction to an
Hmm.
an absolutely crappy situation that they've
Right.
been
Yeah.
placed in. It's kind of just sort of take it easier on her when she's sort of absolutely ignoring you all your life. I
Right. No. She's had
Yeah, no, I
time
don't
to
think so.
process this, and if she and it
Right.
sounds like she's not willing to process it. And what's okay? So she stopped having kids. So she wanted four daughters, and so she gave up. What, after she had one, they've changed their mind because she's worried she's going to have another boy. That might be another thought that's going on in her head. I mean, I lived next door to a woman who had four kids, four boys,
Yeah.
and it seemed like they kept having kids because she possibly wanted a girl. That's an observation. I don't know how true that is. But
Right.
this idea that you keep having kids until you get the gender that you want, even though you probably can't support, you're not supporting the ones that you have because you're like
Mhm.
so obsessed with, well, I've got to have this, like my pregnancies have to be like perfect to what I expect them to be. Or I'll go and, monetarily and artificially create the scenario because I'm like, I have to go and,
Mhm.
yeah, buy a girl embryo or a boy embryo or create that before
Yeah,
I have any sense of fulfillment.
that opens up that should people be allowed to choose the chromosome type
Hmm.
of the sperm and therefore choose the sex of the baby. And
Right.
I think that opens up dangerous lines as well. Sort of,
Yeah.
um, you know, um, I don't know. It's kind of very, very strange.
Hmm.
But um, yeah, this person, I think that being a little bit snarky is
Hmm.
I I don't, and I think that I think that sort of I guess what's the intention that they have? They want to express their emotions
Hmm.
about um, sort of how frustrated they are with
Right.
being ignored, and I think that is sort of going to get across. But I think that their family,
Hmm.
oh, go easy on her because she had
Mm.
gender disappointment. They're just enabling her to just keep ignoring. If you're saying, oh no, it's okay that she's doing this because she's got gender disappointment, it's
Hmm.
sort of, we'll stop enabling her to do it. Stop
Right.
saying it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
Get her some help with sort of what she's doing to her son, and so, but say, hey, it's not
Hmm.
okay how you're traumatizing this child.
No. Yeah. No. I had a thought, but it's gone now. But yeah, she's choosing to hold on to this, and I think anybody on the outside of it would just say, look, at some point, like, what does she get out of just being constantly disappointed as well? Like, what does she get
Mm.
out of behaving like this? She's choosing to be miserable and choosing to victimize herself, and then the family siding with her because, yeah, if this kid had come up to his mum completely kind and empathetic and said, "It hurts me that you do this. I love you, but it hurts me." If
Mm.
she had exactly the same reaction, this kid can't win. Because if he's
Yeah.
approaching her rationally and saying, look, I understand you're disappointed, however, this is how it
Mm.
makes me feel, like I'm being complete, and that's being an adult. That's being having an adult reaction to a
Sure.
complex situation. She probably still would have turned around and went, tough, I don't care. There's nothing to say that she would have gone, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize. So does this
Yeah, if
kid,
she's
start to sort of show empathy, and she's still like, "Oh, that's whatever." Would she show empathy in return if I mean, I'm not blaming them for having a negative reaction. because I feel like this woman, it wouldn't matter what you said to her.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't matter if everyone sat her down and said that we understand that you were upset about this, but you're hurting your child. It sounds to me like she just wouldn't care. That's the impression this person's given.
And I really sort of, she's willing to say, hey, I wanted daughters in front of her son, and
Right.
express that kind of disappointment with your
Mm-hmm.
child not being
Mm-hmm.
born the right sex
Yeah.
for some reason. I
Like a
don't think
single
she's going
thing
to
you have
listen
no
to that.
control over. Yeah. No,
Well, I don't
I
think
don't
there's a
think,
single
yeah.
thing, but there's absolutely no way he's got control over that. But
No.
lacking adult understanding and compassion, it's amazing how many people say that, and then
Yeah.
they expect you not to have compassion for yourself.
Right.
That is always a one-way street. And,
Mm-hmm.
yes, have compassion for others, have compassion for yourself as
Yeah.
well.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they never talk about that one. I'll just go to a couple of comments in here. Not the us or your mum is toxic and extremely shallow. I'm kind of agreeing with that. So
Mm-hmm.
many there are desperate for a healthy baby, regardless of gender. She's blessed. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know about blessed, but yeah, that's a good point. There's people doing IVF that can't have children and would love to have any child.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're almost an adult. Yeah. I think that this
Yeah,
person's, I mean, even now I would just be like, I mean, what do you have to do to get out of that family? Because if that's how it is now, it's probably never going to get any better. So I wouldn't even want
yeah.
to associate with these people in any regard.
I really hate the concept of gender disappointment. It feels becoming more obvious with these huge trendy gender reveals. And you mentioned that, yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Full
People need to
disclosure,
grow the
that's
fuck up. Yeah.
my opinion on these gender reveals. It
Hmm.
might sound harsh, but I firmly hope, because the woman who started the trend, allegedly, her kid ended up being non-binary. Like, that's the ultimate irony. Like, you have a
Wow.
huge party because you're so
Mm.
excited that you're going to have a girl. And I hope that some of these people experience that. Like, it sounds rotten, but I hope that some of these people, like, who were so happy that they were having this gendered child,
Mm.
have to go through the motions of just, whoops, you assume gender from like the beginning. It's almost like we can't afford to, like, you can't afford to even just assume gender of anyone, because it's, you never know what that person's going to be like. That's
Mm.
not fair. And how much harder would it be for that kid to want to come out to their parents if they knew that their parents had this huge party that was put on TikTok
Yeah,
or something? Or the
that's
parent, or
true.
yeah, or the kids of the parents who started that wildfire from the explosion. Like, these kids are going to grow up and find out that this is what their parents did. Even if they're, comfortable with their gender, they're going to grow up and find out that their parents did a stupid thing over a stupid, just that's why they drive me nuts. I can't even articulate it now, because the whole concept of you celebrating the gender of a child, it's sorry.
No, no, I understand.
Mm,
Your mother needs to grow up. You're no responsible for mitigating a disappointment the family should create
mm-hmm,
into it. Yeah, I kind of, I don't go no contact. Look, I really hate it. Redditors kind of do this. Oh, we'll just cut off any kind of contact with
mm,
these people. I mean, I don't know if that's what people should do. I wouldn't go that far.
mm,
That's really up to the person, but
yeah,
certainly have some boundaries that you have if it makes you upset.
yeah,
Again, yeah, that's
yeah,
not gender disappointment. That's some disgusting cruel neglect on your mother's part.
yeah, good, yeah. No real mother
Yeah,
would ever do
I
that.
think it is gender disappointment. It's just a very extreme version of it,
Yeah.
which kind of verges on abuse. Yeah,
Mm,
but if she fed you and put a roof over your head, it's not technically abuse. I get that,
yeah,
but holy crap, that's going to leave a scar.
yeah. It's emotionally neglectful. Like, you're denying that kid the same amount of attention and affection you can clearly give to another kid. It's not like she had two kids and treated them badly. And like I did hear the other day, it was a really good point that even if you think you were raised by the same parent in a household, the first kid's going to get a different experience to the second kid or the third kid, because your parent is also going through a person that they don't stay the same person after having kids either. So even if you're both taken care of and loved, like you'll get to the first kid's probably going to be, cotton wool and overprotected a little bit. The
Yes,
second
yeah,
kid, they
I've
might,
heard that's a trend. Yeah,
yeah. So if you grow up thinking, well, we both had the same parent, you sort of technically don't. And this person obviously is experiencing that they didn't get
much
the same
different.
parent.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've got two. This girl's got, and what does this the kid that's getting all this affection? How is she going to treat the boy? Because if she
don't
sees
know.
the boy being neglected, and that's the model that they're being raised in, does that mean the
Mm.
sister then neglects him or hates him too because mum just hates him? Like they're only going to learn from what they see. Like
Presumably, yeah.
yeah, but I don't know how old
I
the other
mean,
sister
you
is.
don't know. It's a very complex thing. You don't know
Yeah, I'm
how
probably
that
overthinking
child's
it.
going. Yeah, but they may grow up spoiled. They may grow up
Mhm.
expecting things to always go their way. It might have a variety of knock-on effects. But I do agree with this poster. The dad, where's the dad in all of this?
Yeah, he's
You
just
know,
not.
just a helicopter parent maybe.
Yeah,
Just drops in, leaves, doesn't actually do any parenting, just leaves them with the
right.
mum. So
Yeah, like so it sounds, but that sounds to me like he just didn't want kids, full stop, and he's just
yeah, full stop.
he's
Yeah.
providing for the family that he doesn't technically want. So if he's not
Um.
stepping in and going, that's not cool.
Yeah. Uh. Bad mums. Just seeing what the chat says. Oh my God, is the mother rich? That would be a reason why they're on her side, as no sane person would. Right? Is the mother rich and the family's all on her side? I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe that behavior is normal for them. It's interesting
right.
how many times you see this sort of maladjusted behavior, and the
Mm.
entire family of one side is like, oh, but that's normal, and it's like that is not
Yeah,
normal.
everybody outside
Like
of it is just like, that's awful.
right. I've noticed it like with people arguing, and they'll fight, like calling each other names and insulting each other,
Hmm.
around a table, and it's very awkward. And their
Hmm.
entire, one side of the marriage's family says,
Hmm.
"Oh, but that's normal," and it's like that's not
No,
normal.
no.
No,
Cultivated a sense of just
right,
normalizing bad behavior.
right.
Hmm.
Um,
Whoops.
You have no obligation to love your parent. You are obliged to love your child. Your mum sounds narcissistic, and other family members are enabling flying monkeys. This shit infuriates me. I'm sorry to
It is.
infuriate you, Deviant.
No, it is
It's pretty bad.
infuriating. It's like, and then you
Yeah.
sort of like, they look at you for not having kids. Like they turn to you
Mm,
and go, well, you don't have kids, so how could you possibly know? I can empathize with a child in this situation. I can
mm.
empathize with a parent. I can sympathize with a parent having a difficult time with a child. This
Yeah,
notion that
I
you have to be a parent to understand, I don't think that's true. Not
yes,
entirely.
yeah. I mean, we can all sort of empathize with neglect. I think that
Hmm.
at one point or another, we've been neglected and felt
Mm.
upset about it, rightly or wrongly. We
Yeah,
might not have been rightly upset, but we can understand the feeling. So I really think that you don't have to be in the exact same situation to feel empathy
hmm,
towards people. I
right.
really don't think so. Let's see how that the thing I did. Yeah, poster is morally right. Oh, and one person said everyone's immoral for some reason, but okay, you're entitled to your opinion. I get you. I mean, I'd love to know why, but like what the kid has done wrong. But
Yeah,
sure.
I don't know. Because they didn't
Um,
be more understanding, maybe. I don't know.
so do you want to read the next one?
Okay, we'll go back. We just go in the one straight under, or
Yeah, sure.
okay. So, letting my okay. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter she actually has to do things to get celebrated? First impression.
Um, I think so. I don't know what they mean by celebrate though. That depends on the context. If you're saying you have to do things in order to be celebrated by society at large, then yes. If you are talking about celebrated by your family, like a birthday or something, then no, not really.
No.
So it all depends, kind of
Okay.
thing.
Okay. I have a 16-year-old daughter, Catty, and a 14-year-old Jake. Jake is more of an achiever. He's involved in sports, does great in school, and recently won an award for community volunteering. We have been celebrating his achievements, usually with a dinner out. Catty, on the other hand, doesn't do much. She hasn't been putting effort into anything lately. She basically just goes to school and exists in the house. Okay, we're allowed to exist. She spends her free time on the phone or watching TV, doesn't have any hobbies or interests outside of her friend group, and doesn't put much effort into schoolwork. This resulted her not getting many celebration outside her birthday. We stopped forcing her to do sport or other clubs when she hit high school. Okay. Caddy came to me and said she feels like it's unfair we celebrate Jake, and I decided to have a conversation with her. I sat her down and explained that we love her just as much, but if she wants to be celebrated like Jake, she needs to put effort into something. I suggested she try finding something she's passionate about or work harder in school, that she should make her own goals to work towards. I thought I was being honest but gentle. Caddy did not
Okay.
take it well. Yeah.
You're just a little quiet, so I'm gonna
Okay.
turn you
You might have
up.
to
No, I
boost
can
me up a
turn you
bit.
up.
Okay. I think
Yeah,
I don't know how to control my mic volume.
that's okay.
Is that better?
Try that. Just talk a bit.
Hello.
Yeah, that's better, I think.
It's probably me as well.
I know.
Caddy did not take it well. She exploded, accusing me of playing favourites and said it was unfair that Jake gets all the attention just because he's always doing things. She even lashed out at Jake, telling me he was the golden child and she was tired of hearing about how great he was. Jake was hurt by her outburst. Now things are awkward between them. Caddy has been avoiding both me and her brother since then, staying in her room or giving us a silent treatment. My husband thinks I could have phrased it better, but I believe this was an important reality check for her. If she isn't doing anything, there isn't anything to celebrate. Edit for everyone claiming that I never talk or am around my daughter. She literally just went apple picking with her father this weekend. I'm spending almost every day teaching her how to drive. We went shopping at a spa, went on a shopping and a spa day earlier this month. Her father is teaching her how to change tires and how to work basics of the car. That's been happening every weekend for months. Me and her have been watching a show every Thursday with her for months. That's just this month. Okay, so you're spending time with her, but she's not doing enough.
Yeah, which I kind of get. Like if the one son is sort of, going out doing sports, winning trophies, and you're just sort of, sitting around. I think it could have been worded better, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, it is a reality check that if you don't
Mm.
work towards goals, you don't get that. I mean, it's not like they're not celebrating her birthday or doing stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. Um, I think yeah,
Yeah, I don't think she worded it badly. She could have been a
no,
lot
I don't think
meaner
so.
about it.
That's true.
But I think
I
also just 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 from an expectation point of view again on parents,
mm,
it's like you kind of just have to let kids figure out what they want to do. So sort of saying that if you don't do anything, you're not as you yeah, it's a hard way to phrase that, but it's her choice to
yeah,
do nothing. You've given her the choice to do absolutely nothing. But could you have said it like, okay, well, we put money into the son's extracurricular things. We put money into them in their sporting things, saying we're just as happy to spend just as much money on your interest as his. What would you like to try? Say what it is, and we'll make an arrangement. And if you don't want to do anything, that's fine. But don't expect us to have, don't expect to be rewarded for doing the bare minimum. I guess I don't know. I don't know how to phrase that.
yeah, but it sort of concerns me that they just have stopped doing extracurricular activities. They don't seem interested in anything.
Hmm.
Could they be depressed?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it
They
is
haven't
really what
considered it.
occurs to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
may
think
not have
somebody said she
considered.
might need therapy.
Right, right. And that might be a really good way to go about it. Sort of say, hey, let's go with you to therapy and talk about what we can do because you seem uninterested. You seem to just sit around all the time.
Mhm.
It kind of is the warning signs of depression to me, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And I mean, did you celebrate her going apple picking? Because who says that apple picking is less valuable than,
Yeah.
doing sport kind of thing? I don't.
Right. That if she chose something less, yeah, like whatever she does and if she achieves it, then yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're expecting. Yeah. I don't know what parents want from kids other than to be
Yeah.
happy. And I think if the baseline is most people say, well, I just want them to be happy. But I still think some people have like, well, you do have certain expectations of your kid to do well in school or to, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was the
Yeah.
worst way to go about it, I guess.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's very difficult conversation, but it
Mm,
also like if you're sort of saying, "Hey, you're doing nothing, but let's celebrate anyway," it's kind of
mhm.
going to set them up for failure in life because
Yeah,
nobody's going to care if you're celebrated or not. Look, I mean, life when you get out into the real life and you're not a child in a house, sometimes you will do things and you're still not celebrated
right,
for them.
exactly.
So,
Like, welcome to
you
the
know,
working world. Yeah.
yeah, the working world, like you do your job day in, day out, and you're still not
Mhm.
celebrated. It's just like back to work.
Yeah.
So, I really think that,
No,
not the,
I left-handed
yeah,
Jedi said perhaps the daughter doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. That's reasonable. She hasn't met, she hasn't
yeah,
figured
no,
that
I
out.
agree. Yeah,
Um, because again, this is another thing. Can I have a mini rant?
go rant away. I'm here
This
for it.
this idea, this occurred to me recently. You put a kid through school. When I was in school, the biggest push was to get you through TE. Like everybody was focused on getting you into university or getting you into
Yeah.
something. Like you had to know
And
what you
just one
wanted to do.
second,
Oh,
just one
sorry.
sec. That's the equivalent of SAT. People won't know what that TE
Sorry.
is
Yeah,
unless they're from
our
Australia.
our SAT is tertiary entrance examination or whatever
Yep.
they call it now. Same sort of thing. They're
Yeah.
telling you at 16 you have to know what to do with the rest of your life. That is bizarre to me because they're the same people that will say, you don't know anything, you're a kid, what do you know? Like as soon as you start asserting yourself and saying what you want, some people will just go, you don't know what you want. That's outrageous. Why would you want
Mhm.
that? But then conversely, you're going and sending them to school and saying, like this, I'm not being hyperbolic. The attitude is you have to know what you want to do before you leave school.
Right,
Just that
right,
notion alone is ridiculous. I knew what I wanted to do. I did everything I was told to do. I still don't know what I'm doing. Like I think you still need to tell kids sometimes you will hit points where you're just a bit lost and you don't know what to do with yourself. You don't know where you're supposed
right.
to be.
And that's okay.
That's
Yeah, that's
fine.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. So this girl just approach it that way instead, saying, look, it might be that you don't know what you want to do. That's totally fine. But if you think about it and whatever you think is best, we'll work through it. And then just don't expect that people are going to cheer for you for doing nothing, but try to frame it better to just say, look, you're 16 years old, god. And then you yell at your parents and say, well, did you want to know what you would be at 16? Okay, you were all off going and your expectations were different too. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I had no clue what I wanted to do after high school. How is that fair? Like, how is
Well,
that
it's
fair?
not.
It's not.
It's
it's
not.
it's
And
ludicrous.
sort of, well, I think that there's something to be said for trying new things. And I really get like there was a aimbot, I think it was last week, and somebody was saying that I can't remember. There was something where somebody was saying, "Oh, well, I'm afraid that they'll see it as just a phase kind of thing."
Right.
And I think that um, we shouldn't be afraid to do things because we might not be doing them the rest of our life kind of
Right.
thing. I think that
Yep.
trying new things, we shouldn't see it as, oh, well, my parents will think of it as, I'm just, I'm going through a phase where I'm trying new things and then dropping them. and my
Yeah.
parents don't like it kind of thing. They want me to commit to something.
Yeah.
I think we've got to stop that sort of
Yes.
mentality, because
Right.
when you find something that you love, you will
Mm-hmm.
commit to it.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's not going to be a problem.
No.
So,
Yeah.
um, I think, yeah, I think that's a real problem, and that
Mm-hmm.
framing of, well, you've got to go do this sport, and if you start, you can't
Mm-hmm.
stop.
Right.
It
Like you
really
have to do
does.
it. Yeah.
Right, it dissuades people from actually starting in the first place, because they
Mm-hmm.
feel like, well, if I start something, I've got to do it for the rest of my life, and that isn't
Right.
true.
No. You'll
Um,
change your mind about things multiple times.
right, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and I think that sort of mentality is really a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she could be just confused about what she wants to do. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
But be aware that if you aren't achieving things and you aren't
Mm-hmm.
working towards and achieving things, no one's going to celebrate it for you. And
No.
it's kind of weird. People don't celebrate the victories so much these days. I think that
No.
we have to celebrate the little things, the
Yeah.
little victories kind of
Yeah.
thing, because nobody else is going to actually celebrate it for us. Like
No.
nobody cares.
No.
Nobody cared that I really made 500 subscribers. Like it's not like
No.
the internet stopped or anything.
Right.
Nobody really cared except me.
Yeah. Like it's setting reasonable expectations as well. Like
Sure.
getting them a sense of what to expect from. Yeah. Like I think someone in the comments has said it feels like a mismatch of expectations. So, sorry, I'm jumping in the comments a little bit. It
Mhm.
it's yeah, you feel like people don't have these conversations from the beginning and just say to a kid, you pick what you want to do. Okay, it's a money aspect as well. If something's expensive, like my parents were like, we paid for this thing, you've got to keep doing it. I'm like, well, that's no reason for me to keep doing it. Like, I don't know what monetary problems you're having as a 5-year-old. Like, I'm just doing what I'm told. So, yeah, like, it's expectations. It's mismatched. It's setting setting a ceiling for one kid, and then yeah, I don't know.
Mm. Not the asshole. Makes perfect sense to me. I'm assuming you all would celebrate a birthday, graduation, etc. So you think people are going to throw parties for her for no
Mm-hmm.
reason? She's old enough to learn that's not how the world works. I kind of agree with that.
Mm,
The world is just not going to celebrate you for existing, unfortunately.
yeah.
Maybe get her into therapy. Sounds like she's in some sort of woe is me spiral. That's a really bad term for
Yeah.
sort of depression, or sort
Yeah.
of lack of motivation. Woe is
Mm,
me spiral. Damn.
wow.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that is a terrible description of people's psychology. Maybe some outside perspective would help her get a track, or at least understand people who work hard and achieve things.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I, and it's again the age like 16. You haven't really
Yeah, 16.
self-actualization is a very slow process. Just putting
Mm,
that out
yeah,
there.
who at 16 really knows what they want to do for the rest of their life? Like, you very rarely
That's
you'll find somebody at 16 that's like, yep,
yeah.
I've got it all on lockdown. This is how my life's
Uh-huh.
going to go. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying it's
No,
rare.
it's rare to know and be that certain of it. Yeah.
So, not the arsehole, because this feels like a mishmash of expectations. Yeah, achievements are subjective. Like, sure, getting A's in a water standing concept, but so is getting B's. Or yeah, and so and here's the important thing: like, it may be an achievement for her to
Mm-hmm.
just simply pass school.
Yeah.
We were talking about this in relation to ADHD the other day.
Mm. Mm.
That sometimes achievement, it depends on what the person is capable of. So
Correct.
people don't understand how hard it is for someone with ADHD to
Mm-hmm.
say, just make all of their appointments and
Mm-hmm.
sort of plan for the future kind of thing. That
Right.
might be a huge achievement for them.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
perhaps it is the case of she's finding things incredibly difficult, and
Yeah.
it's actually an achievement just to be organized and get to
Yeah.
school.
It could,
So
yeah, yeah. This could actually be an undiagnosed thing. Like, I'm not saying that she's definitely got ADHD, but it could be a factor, or it could be that she's just like, yeah, depressed, and getting out of bed is an achievement.
Yeah.
that she's trying. That I think she
Yep.
feels like she's trying, and so
Yes.
nobody's like recognizing that she's trying, and that's become more evident, especially with kids that like with ADHD. I heard somebody
Yeah.
describe it as it's like erectile dysfunction of the mind. Like you can put the effort in if you
Wow.
have an interest in the subject. That's
1 in 3 men.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a terrible way to describe it. Wow.
No, but yeah,
Wow.
it could be that yeah, it's like this. I mean, not to put labels on this poor girl, but this could be like classic case of undiagnosed autism or ADHD or something,
Yeah, sure.
and the
But
depression's going to factor in.
I love what this commenter has said. Instead of pushing her to achieve something based upon someone else, her brothers or your barometer, you should talk to her about what she feels like she's achieved or put effort into recently.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, capable of. Yeah, and I think that's really good. She might say, look, it's really hard to get up, or you might learn something about what she's currently struggling with,
Right.
and understand where she's coming from. I think that's a really I actually like that comment.
Yeah. Like they said, it's not about celebration, it's about appreciation and feeling that you were putting in
Yeah.
the effort and recognizing that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. What has the chat got to say? What have you got to say, chat? I'm not saying she's rewarded, but something is going on. Yeah, I kind of, especially if she was used to, like she used to be doing sports and activities, and suddenly she's not when she hits high school. It is a bit strange. Maybe something is going on. 40. Look, I remember a song that had all of this kind of advice in, and one of the piece of advice that went through was like, don't be worried if you don't know what you want to do. The
Sunscreen song.
yeah, and the most interesting people at 40 still have no idea what they want to do. It really is a case of it doesn't make you any less of a person. So and I'm 40 something and I still have no idea.
We don't
It's
know what we're
okay.
doing.
Look,
We're the first to say.
I will regularly tell people I have no idea what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue what to do about high school. Yeah, no, I get you, Jedi. I get you.
It's a real
Davian says, I think a follow-up conversation would be the right thing for the mum, acknowledging the daughter's feeling as being real and important. Try and suss out what's up with the daughter. Depression could be on the table. As you find out, could also be that she needs guidance. Just waving her off is absolutely the wrong thing to do. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You should be more
Um,
compassionate because if she's frustrated with something, and you should treat all frustrated kids with compassion because they're frustrated about something. They just
yeah.
might not be able to articulate it very well.
Mm. And Luke says, when I was growing up, I was doing everything my parents wanted me to do. It wasn't until after going to school and university I wasn't living.
Yep.
Right on, Luke.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And
As soon as you
that's
leave home, basically.
yeah. And as you'd mentioned, Len, it's that self-actualization that so you can't self-actualize, which is sort of the state of being the best you can be. The best version of yourself you can be is self-actualization. There's no way you can achieve that when being the best person somebody else wants, because that will never be the same thing. It will never be the same thing. And I remember seeing this thing about sort of, copying people, where it not only rips them off because you're a second-rate version of them, it cheats yourself because you'll never be a first-rate version of you. So I think that's really good point, Luke. And we're really talking about self-actualization. That's exactly what we're talking about. Being the most fulfilled and best version of yourself you can be.
Yeah. Like she might go on to do a lot of things that are just as important. Like, and not to be mean, but what's to say the son isn't going to hit the same point? Like he's going to be, well, everybody put these expectations on me to do amazing. If he's the overachiever, that stuffs you up too, because you go into life again, like everybody expects things of you, and what's going to happen the minute he doesn't achieve them? Is he going to be treated the same as her? Like, are they just going to go, well, you didn't, get first place in this, or your grades dropped or something? They're going if they're going to treat him exactly the same. He's not sometimes over celebrating or, pointing out achievements constantly to a kid means they're going to have to constantly be achieving things.
Mhm.
They're,
Yeah.
I don't think they're treating either of the kids fair in that regard, because it's like, yeah, you've that again, he's going to go out in the world and find out people aren't going to celebrate him all the time. And it's going to be
Mm.
harder for him because he's so used to it. And that's what they complain about, kids going into the workplace and saying, why is nobody, I used to be this person in high school. Why is nobody propping me up anymore? It's because, again, the world doesn't owe you
Right.
anything. So neither of them really are getting the right message from how they're being treated by their parents, if that makes any sense. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
It's that's yeah.
Yeah. And if they don't stop treating
Mm-hmm.
him well and celebrating
Mm-hmm.
him when he doesn't get those achievements, then that's going to make their daughter resent them so much, because
Right,
she's going to say, well, he didn't achieve
right,
something and still gets
exactly,
rewarded.
and
So,
yeah, because he
there's
hadn't
that's sort of
gotten.
an
Yeah,
right. That's kind of a no-win situation there.
no, yeah.
It's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Sarah calls it. It affects me pushing harder to get out of this hole myself. Like being a spell of not motivated to make my art. That's okay. I get you.
Yeah,
Motivation is very hard
it
when
is
it comes to art and
absolutely. You have to
projects and
take days off. Even stuff with stuff you enjoy doing. Sometimes, yeah, you just don't have the drive to do it, and you just have to be more forgiving, which I'm not anyway. But if you go into it going, if I don't do this every day, I'm doing something wrong. I think you've got to take days off from things that you do like as well.
yeah, absolutely.
Like
Well,
there's
let's
no
see how the
problem with that. Yeah.
poll came out. 50-50 between no one's immoral and poster is morally right. So,
Okay.
uh, yeah, I don't think anyone's immoral in this thing. I think it just could have been worded better. Or I really like the post where they said, find out what is achievement to her,
Mm-hmm.
not what you think she's
Yeah.
achieving.
Right.
And that would also hopefully identify any issues
Mm-hmm.
she's having. And I think sort of makes it more about if she's struggling and manages to get to um, a point where she's doing some things, it will motivate her a lot more than saying, hey, you've got to equal your brother's achievements, which
Mm-hmm.
she may think is completely beyond her,
Yep.
in order to be celebrated. I
Right.
100% agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Effort based rather than results based is really the way to go.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez, Luke. Growing up with strict Christian parents can screw all your personal dreams and plans up. Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
horrifies me when they start talking about like, oh, you find your kingdom purpose kind of thing,
Ugh.
and
Good.
I'm not even joking. Like, you have to
Chills.
find your kingdom purpose, like your purpose in the new kingdom of God. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, you may feel inspired to do this thing or that thing, but you got to ignore that because you got to find like it's horrendous. So Luke,
Yeah,
you have
that's
my
even
yeah, you have my empathy, mate. That is awful. I,
that's
I
yeah.
I hate that idea.
Mm. Like if you're,
Uh,
again, just, if you're not following your own path, so to
mm,
speak, and you're just going by what everybody in a church tells you what you should be doing, that's even
right.
worse. It's like, what are
Yeah.
you going to do when you get out in the world and like these things don't happen because you said, if I put faith in something, I'll get this in return, and that doesn't happen. Yeah.
Damn Samsung, can't scroll far enough to vote on. I'm so sorry, Majes. Beck.
Sorry.
Oh no. It's an Apple
Ah.
conspiracy. Blame
Yeah.
Tim Cook. It's a
Mhm.
conspiracy.
Damn. Okay. Did you want to do the next one, or are
Yes,
we?
yes, I will skip the ad.
Uh-huh.
Okay, next one is from Key Lunch 5421.
Mhm.
Am I the arsehole for accusing mum of being selfish when she forces my twin sister's dad to include me? Well, I have to pass down those relationships a bit.
Mhm.
Um, he's or they have said
Mhm.
to their mum that she's being selfish when she forces my twin sister's dad. Why wouldn't that be your dad? Why would
Yeah.
it be your twin sister's dad and not your dad?
Okay. Yeah, that's a weird way to phrase that. I'm very confused.
Uh,
Unless they had that thing where
what?
they've got two different dads.
Apparently
That's
so.
very
I'm just more intrigued about how you are a twin with a different
yeah.
dad.
That yeah. It's yeah. Well, not necessarily. Not technically sort of twins at that point, but yeah, it's happened.
Okay. You read that right. My twin sister, 16 female, and I, 16 male, don't have the same dad.
Mm-hmm.
Mum slept with two guys close together and had us. DNA proved this too. That can happen. I mean, I
Yes.
suppose if
Yep.
two
At
eggs get
100%. Yep.
fertilized with different sperm, that's insane.
They've had cases where you've had a white kid and a black kid in the same scenario. That you can, it is very rare. You can get pregnant again during a pregnancy. Incredibly rare,
Wow.
but you can still be ovulating and it is still possible to get pregnant during a pregnancy. It's insane, but yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Uh, Mum had threesome, I guess. I
Yeah, or she was cheating and was having
oh,
sex around about the same time with two different people, or they were just having
I
relationships with two different people.
I did not know that. I might
Mm.
look up a bit more information about it.
Yeah, because if you have conception roughly around the same time, if you've like have you might release two eggs at the same time, and yeah, two
Well,
different
would have to
sets.
be maternal twins, right? Not paternal twins,
I'm not
right?
sure about that part, but yeah, it's definitely like because then yeah they're not coming out. I can't remember what the terminology for it is, but
It's called heteropaternal superfiunc uh fecundation, sorry.
yeah,
Super
fecundation. Yes,
fecundation.
okay, so you're overly fertile is over fecundant.
That's insane.
Yeah. So you just happen to be very your fecundity or fertility is off the charts, and you can yeah
Oh, fraternal, sorry. I mean fraternal twins, right?
yeah fraternal twin
Yeah. It's not identical because that's an egg splitting in two. It's
uh-huh
fraternal twins, which is
uh-huh
two different eggs. Wow,
yeah
that's wild.
uh-huh
Okay. Well, I've just learned something. Wow. Um, it's always been a weird thing, and we get a lot of questions in real life. My sister's dad was willing to do the DNA test, took it and showed he was her dad, but not mine. Mine had to be dragged to court, and he has found ways around paying for me, and he and his family never want to know me. So my sister grew up with a dad, and I didn't. Oh, that's really bad. I don't
that's
see why the
rough
dad. I mean, he's got one girl. Why not just be the dad to the boy as well? I mean, obviously the the real father, biological father of the
mm-hmm.
boy is a complete prick. But
Yeah,
you know,
if there's a
why
background
not?
again, if it was a cheating thing though, maybe he
Uh,
doesn't want to know her
that's
know yeah
true.
if there
That's
was some
true.
other problem with the other dad and he hates the dad so much he won't look after another kid's child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mum didn't like it, and when we were young, 3 to 5 maybe, I apparently used to get so sad when she'd leave and go to her dad's house.
Mm-hmm.
Mum went to her dad's house, or your granddad's? Oh,
No,
yeah,
she
no,
went. The
the
daughters, yeah,
sister. Yeah, the
yeah, her
daughter went to
sister.
the dad's house, and I
Yep.
couldn't go with her. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember it, but I get why it would be true. Yeah, no, that would make you sad as well if you're so
Mm-hmm.
close to your sister. Oh, that's
Yeah,
fucked. All right,
yeah,
that's terrible.
yeah.
So Mum told him he had to include me, and he was like, "Nope, no way." Oof.
Mm.
It ended up in court with Mum wanting to take away his parenting time. The judge ended up saying he didn't have to take me for his custody time, but he had to include me at any big days out with my sister or family holidays if she went
Oh,
along. He
okay.
tried to get my mum to drop it, but she refused.
Oh God. Okay, so now you're forcing the whole issue as
Yeah,
well
that's going
because
to
he won't.
build resentment, a lot of
Yeah.
resentment.
Mm-hmm.
So ever since I was about 5 or 6, he has been forced to include me in his life, sometimes in the lives of his family members. None of them want me to be there. Ah, fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's
I
rough.
know that they see me as a huge burden. I hated it. If I wasn't being ignored, they just really short with me and made it obvious they didn't want me there. My
Mm-hmm.
sister was torn between me and her dad. I
Yep.
told her I didn't want to deny her a dad, so she never let it come between them or
Oh
us.
God. That's a
Oh,
lot on
that's
her as
terrible.
well. That's too much to put on a kid as well.
When I turned 13, I tried to put my foot down with my mum, but she told me I had to go. And she said she'd take his ass to court so fast if he let me wander off and didn't make sure I was okay like he would with my sister. Yeah, that's not, yeah. There's only 2 years left, but I can see how much my sister's paternal side despise having me around.
Oh,
It sucks
God.
being forced somewhere that nobody wants you. And my mum is still serious about taking him back to court. So I told him mum a couple of nights ago that it needs to stop and she can't keep doing this. She told me I don't deserve to be left out because of her actions. That is true, but you can't
Can't
force
change
somebody to love somebody.
Right.
You can't.
Mhm.
Stalkers, pay attention. You
Yeah,
can't force
because
somebody
you
to love you.
no. Why
I
would you
told her
want
she
to?
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the next sentence. I told her she can't make them love me, and they have shown their disdain for me over 10 years now. I
Mhm.
told her to let it go. She got so mad she wanted to yell and cuss at them. I told her to stop being selfish and forcing them to include me because she's the only one that wants that, not me.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
told her I never wanted this. Mum broke down and then she told me it wasn't necessary to be cruel to her.
Oh, okay. I don't think you were.
Okay, so I think I see what's going on here, and I'll do the poll, but I think the mum is jealous, guilty,
Mhm.
because she is blaming herself for the lack of parent for her son,
Mhm.
and I don't think that's the case. I don't think her
Mhm.
mum should feel guilty about that. You know, like
No, if he's
it
chosen
wasn't
to
her
be that
choice.
way. No.
Right, and he's chosen that, hey, you're right, it could have been cheating or something like that.
Mhm.
Ideally, you would hope
Mhm.
that the guy would just be able to get over it and not
Mhm.
punish the son for
Yeah.
something that he had absolutely no choice in whatsoever. It
Right.
might be more complicated than that. I get that.
Yeah. But again, it seems to be again that like the poor sister's got to like is stuck between them because she obviously loves the brother, but she can't make the family accept him either. And then the mum's just
Mm.
trying to force this situation that's causing resentment all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he's a stepfather, but he's not even the
Mm.
stepfather because he's not a
No.
father figure at all.
Yeah.
Um, his sister's dad. Wow.
Mhm.
You know, I get that you want to, you know, I think that if you would say, hey, if you just hang around him and give him some love, you'll form a connection. But if that's
Mhm.
like, but for so long, that's not going to happen. And I don't know
No.
what his issue is,
Mhm.
but obviously he's got an issue with
Mhm.
with his son.
Mhm.
No, say it's not his son, with his, what do you call that? His
Well,
daughter's brother,
yeah.
half brother,
Yeah. Because it sounds like it sounds like the mum's not even with this dad either. It sounds like she's left both of the dads, or both of the dads aren't with
right?
her anymore.
Right.
Because otherwise, if he
Yes.
were parenting both of them, it would be a different story. It
Hmm,
sounds like both dads left her because of this situation. Then the son's dad
possibly.
went, screw you, and the mum's and this daughter's dad was like, well, I'll take care of the daughter, but not the son.
Right. So I think his intention is to stop basically making it awkward. He doesn't like it,
Hmm.
so he's trying to
Hmm.
create. I mean, what I see is a young man trying to make a boundary. He
Right.
doesn't like getting into this situation. It's not healthy
Hmm.
for him. So he's trying to
Hmm.
make a boundary that, hey, I don't have to go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think the mother's sort of going, well, then I'm responsible for you being sad, not realizing it's worse
Yeah.
that he's been forced to go and spend time with somebody that really doesn't like him.
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
that
kid
is,
though,
yeah, again, it's neglected kid day on the Am I the Arsehole Reddit.
I'm
Setting
so
a trend.
like I'm actually
What would
impressed
you
because
do?
he sort of
Mm.
said to his sister, "Well, I want you to have a dad,"
Right.
and you know, doesn't hold it against her, doesn't
Mhm.
feel jealous, just you
Yeah,
know,
it's just
wants
upsetting.
her to, yeah, you know,
Yeah,
I totally get that this situation is screwed up.
yeah. And it would have been confusing for her when they were both young, because if they're twins and they've got a bonding level different to everybody else, seeing your twin kid, like you've got no context for that, seeing a twin
Right.
sibling just being taken away for whatever reason. and nobody telling
Mm.
him like why that is, of course that's going to cause
Yeah.
problems. But
But,
it's heartening that she's still loved, that she's, you know, still connected to him, if nothing else.
yeah.
But that's about
And
it,
it
really.
may be a cheating thing, sure. Yeah. You know, that he equates the son with the
Mm-hmm.
you know, grievous injustice done against him, which is
Yeah.
rough. But you know, I think that the 16-year-old son is being really mature and
Yeah.
really sort of, you
Forthright.
know, yeah, I mean, sort of this has been happening since he was 5 or 6. This has been going on for like over 10 years now.
Yeah.
You know, I think that he's old enough to say, hey, I don't want to be in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Like at some point, they're like, you can decide in court whether or not you even want to be involved in this yourself. I thought some of the courts were like, they check on what the kid actually wants, and if the kid went to court and said, "Hey, I'm not going to force the issue," the court has to sort of abide by that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, I
I
think
think at the
she's
end of the
wasting
day,
her time.
I think at the end of the day, they decide what's best for the children. Like they really
Mm-hmm.
do say, well, regardless of what the children want,
Mm-hmm.
they will go, well, what is the best thing for the children? I can see why the court has made the decision. Like,
Yeah.
um, they don't have to take him for the custody time, but any big
Mm-hmm.
days. So they're basically saying, well, we want to include them in Christmas and birthdays
Mm-hmm.
because he's got a connection to the sister, you know,
Right.
or the family holidays because of the connection to the sister. So I think that they're trying to preserve the bond between the two
Mm-hmm.
siblings, which is fair enough. But if he is so unhappy, I think that he really has the right to say, well, this is ridiculous. And I think um you know, he said, I mean, he's basically told his mum what his boundary is, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
that and I think it's been very mature. Like you can't make the father love him.
Mm-hmm. That you sort of he's trying to let her off the hook as well. Like he's trying to give her sort of, you know, like, I don't want to create a thing out of this. You've got like, you don't have to push for this thing, and she's just insisting that, you know, no, this person has to be your dad come hell or high water. Like that's unreasonable. Again, she's not taking a mature approach to this, but the kid's like, well, doesn't it make more sense to just let it go, because you've tried to force the issue for a decade and it's never come to what you wanted it to be. Are you going to keep doing this, or are you going to keep holding it against the dad that doesn't want the son?
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like she's lost both of them and is just trying to compensate for for this kid not having a dad. And it's like, well, sometimes you can't force a parent again to be a parent, unfortunately. Ultimately, you can't force, like, they're obligated to, but you can't force them to be a parent.
Yeah. I've got your mic on max. Is there any way you can turn it up a little bit?
I
Is there
will
any
try. Just give me
possible
two
way?
seconds on my output. I'm just checking my output might be really crap. My output volume is maxed.
Okay, so no, we can't actually make it louder, unfortunately. That's
I'm
all.
so
That's
sorry.
all we've got.
I'm
No, it's
yeah.
okay.
I'm also
Lynn
trying to.
is a very soft speaker. I have noticed that. It does happen, but you know, we're trying our best. But that's the
Yeah,
limit.
without yelling. This is me not yelling because I can yell. It's just exhausting.
Yeah, no, don't yell. No, don't yell.
No, because that'll just peak the mic and then we'll all be unhappy. Uh, so are we looking at the comments or?
Yeah. Just somebody, X music. How is morality? You know, sort of what's your definition of morality that says that it's a religious concept? Like seriously.
Is there someone in the chat?
I don't know how that is possible. I mean, the definition that I've taken is from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, which is sort of my go-to for most definitions of philosophical concepts. I don't understand how it's a religious concept. So please give a definition that is reliant on religion. Okay, so we've got a few comments underneath. Let's see what the Redditor's got to say. The only arsehole here is your mother. This is not your father, it's your sister's father. She has that family. They got to know it through you. They might have loved you for that, which would be the ideal situation. But I don't, if they just don't feel that way towards you, I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry your father wasn't involved. You don't see his family. Not the arsehole, and neither is your sister or her father. I don't know. I think the father could be more like, why it always I get why people blame the child for maybe something that's gone wrong in their life, kind of thing. But what did he have to do with this? Like,
No.
what the hell did he do wrong? He was born.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Mhm.
I just don't see the point in punishing a child for simply being born.
Yeah. Again, it's of anything you do not have control over in this life, it is that. Of anything you
Right.
cannot effectively have any associated blame or responsibility, it is the fact that you exist in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Um,
insane that you would direct resentment that's supposed to be going towards an adult or a
right.
parent onto that
Mm.
child as like a fallback, like
Yeah.
you're an extension of that resentment.
Yeah.
No, that's
And the mother's
just
not making it any better because that
no.
resentment, if you're forced to,
Mhm.
people are forcing you to make a relationship with that child,
Mhm.
that is just going to build resentment all around, not only to the mother but also to the child. So it's a really, like, she thinks she's doing the best thing, but can we reasonably say that if you
Mm.
force people to be together, that they'll
Mhm.
develop a relationship?
Mm.
No,
No, it's
absolutely
no.
not. That
And
is
the
not a
idea that you could do
reasonable,
that, yeah.
right. That is not a reasonable expectation for that behavior.
Yep.
Nobody that's forced together will definitely develop a relationship. In fact,
No.
quite the opposite.
Well,
They'll
it's
probably
like
end up
yeah.
resenting one another.
It's like finding two friends and you think, oh, you guys have got the same thing in common. You must be able to get along. It's not even reasonable to expect two people who like the same things or have common interests to actually get along with one another. That's a different story. But family, you can't. The idea that you're forcing, like it's like just because you can't provide a family for this son, or you're saying that you can't, this everybody else's responsibility to also chip in and be that family. I don't think that's fair, if that makes sense. Like,
Hmm. Not the answer. What a sad, sad situation. I
mm,
must say, you're showing remarkable wisdom far beyond your years. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. You're
mhm,
right, of course. Tell your mum just to drop it. Forcing any relationship is never right. This,
mhm,
yes,
mhm,
forcing relationships is never right.
yeah,
Your
never,
mum is
never, never.
stuck in her me. No, I think the mum's guilty. I don't think so. I think the mother is guilty that
Mhm,
um, her son has not sort of got the same love as the daughter. I think she's
right.
just guilty. All she self cares about and capable of pain her daughter all these years. The only bright spot I can see is your mother does want to take this court. This could be your chance to end the charade by speaking to the judge directly yourself on your wants
Mhm,
and needs. I hope for the best for you. At 16, the judge will listen to you, and maybe this horribly ruins it. I do like that. Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes you've got to go in and say to other people, like, and if his family knew that you weren't trying to force this as well, maybe they'd give you less of a hard time
Yeah.
because they're just again treating you badly because the mother's behaving badly.
And I do like what they've said here. I have one simple rule: doesn't matter if family or not. Keep the ones that love and support you close, and keep the ones who are toxic far, far away, even if
Mhm,
they are family.
right.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
You need those boundaries against toxic behavior. Absolutely.
Mhm,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like boundaries are applicable to everybody. Like this notion that oh, family doesn't have to have that. Those boundaries don't apply to family because they're family. Like that's not true. Like just like oh, it's your mother. You're not supposed to impose a boundary on your mother because she's your mother. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like people go, well,
Yep.
like you assert a boundary to everyone in your life, but everyone's like, oh, well, that doesn't apply to us because we're family. We're allowed to emotionally take from you, and those boundaries don't mean anything because family negates that. Not true. You're your own person ultimately. And if a
Yep.
family member is crossing boundaries, they get treated like everybody else.
Oh, good night, Left Hand Jedi. Really good to see you, mate. Like, absolutely.
Hope you had
Hope you've had fun. Jedi's awesome.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, some of the people in here, and Pragmatic Crystal. So good to see you. Just yeah, fantastic. Yeah, Extra Music. No, empathy is 100% logical if you have to work together. That's what it is. It encourages pro-social behavior. So it encourages people to work together in order to overcome problems, challenges, dangers, survival, all of that kind of thing. It allows you to do that. And that's why we find more empathy in social organisms like meerkats and social animals than we do in solitary predators like big cats and things like that. They don't show a lot of empathy towards other members of their species, but social animals do. What's the objective of a moral? To restrict someone else's behavior, to make someone feel guilty about their behavior? No. So morality is the code of conduct that would be accepted by all reasonable people within sort of a structure or society. So we're really looking at basically it depends, and there's a lot of different moral structures. It's not necessarily to restrict behavior, but rather it is to form a society that can work together, essentially. That's essentially what it does. Now, some people say that that's from God. Some people say it's created by humans. It's not that it's there to shame people at all. It's there so we can get along without these other problems coming into play. Like if you're an asshole to someone, that's going to generate a lot of fear, anger, a lot of other emotions that might not necessarily be useful for that society. So you get antisocial behaviors. The first is covered by laws in society, the second in religions. Yeah, no. The laws in society are not the same as morality, right? There's no law against me going up to you in the street and saying, hey, you are obviously, a complete asshole or something. There's no law against that, right? There's no law against it. You can say whatever you want, but that might not be moral. They are two separate things. Should you do that? No, because the result of your behavior is extremely antisocial. Morality and legality are not the same thing. They're not. There's a lot of things that are moral and are not legal. There's a lot of things that are immoral and they're totally legal. It's not the same thing. Okay. The only asshole is your mother. Yeah. I don't agree with that. I think I would love it if the guy could actually just take on board the kid and show him love and stuff. I think that would be the moral thing to do. Yeah. But I could understand if there's other factors of why he won't. Did I do a poll for this, or did I completely forget in my ranting?
I think you did, but I can't see polls on my side. But that's
no,
okay.
I did.
Yeah,
we've got Poster is morally right. I agree. I 100% agree.
Is your mum a cat?
Oh, really? Where is it?
One Psychology says, is your mum a cat? It's in the comments.
Oh, really?
And then someone linked them to the Super Fecundation Wikipedia thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, got you.
Nice. Dude, your mom's a cat.
It can happen in humans, so it's extremely
rare.
Yeah, I didn't even know it could happen.
Yeah, no, and sadly, if you're having people who have multiple relationships and you happen to be of that have that genetic ability, every now and then.
Wow, it's just such an unusual situation. I must admit, like I'm glad they said, yeah, you read that right, because yeah. Do you wanna go for the next one?
Okay. Is this the topless one?
Yep. From
Nice.
Alarming Detective 14.
No. No, unless if it's your own home.
No, absolutely not. Look, I've always maintained, like, if we had true sexual equality,
Mhm,
either guys wouldn't be able to walk around topless, or women
mhm.
could walk around topless.
Yeah,
I don't
make it
I
make
don't
sense.
see how it's fair to sort of say, hey, guys can just walk around, with no shirt
Yeah.
on, but girls can't. It's kind of this,
Mhm.
oh, but if they did, guys would look at their tits, and it's like, guys are doing that anyway. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? It's not
Like
gonna.
it doesn't make tits any less visible or invisible. I don't know.
Um, I love it when you try to act out someone saying something insulting and you're just too good-hearted that you struggle to say anything insulting and come across polite anyways. Fuck you, Andrew. Fuck you. Just, I don't know. I don't know, mate. I'm joking, right? Lots of love, buddy. Lots of love.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just, yeah.
Am I the arsehole for being topless in my own home? I live with my partner, so it's normal for me to be topless if I'm getting clothes from another room. For example, if I shower, I need to go to the bathroom to grab bedroom to grab clothes. Last night, I was on my own as my partner was seeing family. I went in the shower, and once I got out, I realized I hadn't picked a shirt up, so I went to go went to go from the bathroom to the bedroom in just my trousers. Once I left the bathroom, I saw my girlfriend and her cousin, who is 16, sat in the living room. Okay, so this is a guy. I was assuming it was a girl. I
So
apologized and
was
went.
I.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, you come to Australia, there's guys with no shirt on, like, everywhere. Like, it
No
just
shirt, no shoes. How
no.
did they die of no surface?
Like,
You've
I'm
died
just
from lack
thinking,
of
like,
service.
going down the beach when
Yep.
you're a kid, like, you have
And you'll see
lifesavers, no
girls in
shirt on you.
bikini tops. Bikini
Sure.
tops are still like and I
What?
see girls in like the
Where does
sports
this guy
bras just
live?
running
A
around.
nunnery or something? What the hell is
Probably.
going on? I'm
Right.
so.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was a girl because
Yeah, because that's usually when people get mad.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
After her
which is
cousin left,
weird.
my girlfriend said I shouldn't be walking around topless. I pointed out it's my home and I wasn't expecting guests, so I don't always need to be completely covered up. I told her that if she told me she was bringing her cousin back and said what time they'd be back, then it wouldn't have been an issue, but she can't expect me to just know what she's been planning, correct? She just said that it was embarrassing and inappropriate for her cousin to see me topless, but again, I pointed out I had no idea she was bringing her cousin back to ours, and she just said it was deflecting from what she was saying. Am I being the arsehole for being topless at my own home? No, because
No,
yeah, again, it was an accident, but who's offended? Is it the girlfriend being offended on behalf of the cousin, or is the cousin offended? Where's the offence? Where's the crime?
I I have no idea. I have
Mm,
no idea. Like, what do they do when they go to the beach? Does she, like, blindfold her cousin or something? I
yeah.
don't. Maybe
Or is
they're
it
in a
because he's a
landlocked
part?
country.
Yeah, maybe.
I
It, whether
look.
it's just a case of she considers that, because again it comes down to whether you consider the act sexual or not, right? Does
Mm,
she think a guy walking around topless is him trying to exude sexuality, or he's just comfortable?
yeah,
For practical reasons, he just wasn't wearing a shirt. Like if he came out in no pants and no underwear, that's a different story. And then wearing a shirt, because I've heard people do that before when they're really drunk. Came out pantsless and didn't know that they were pantsless in their own house.
yeah. I don't know. I don't. I don't see the problem. Maybe it's got more to do with her jealousy over him. No, it's his girlfriend. Maybe
Right.
her cousin was like, "Ooh,
Yeah,
I
the
don't
cousin
know."
ogled him a bit, and then she's like, "Oh, that you
Maybe.
shouldn't. How dare you show your manly physique
Right,
to all
right.
and sundry, you man whore." I don't know.
Yeah, what does she expect him to do?
Yeah, I
Teleport a
think she's jealous
T-shirt
of her
over there?
cousin. Yeah, maybe she thought the
Yeah.
cousin was a threat, and if she doesn't, she's
This
just
is
trying to play the game.
I mean, I'm
It's so
sorry, but
weird.
this is
Yeah.
so not the arsehole.
Maybe because is it because the cousin was 16? Is that the problem?
Yeah,
Was the cousin too young to see a by which time I'd be worried if they hadn't seen a guy not wearing a shirt. Like
right.
where have
She
you been in
probably have.
reality?
I mean, at 16, did you have posters of or guys without shirts on?
Yeah. Are they that conservative? She's not allowed to look at a guy with a shirt off?
Like,
Context.
I just think that she's going to have seen, like, you know, I mean, Twilight, she's going to see guys with shirts off. You know what I mean? Like, um,
You turn on the
I don't.
TV, you walk outside, you see ads, you see it's socially it is still socially acceptable for men to not wear shirts in a lot of circumstances. Not all circumstances, just it's
Um,
common.
holy crap.
Mm.
I think that it's no problem with what he's doing. Like, seriously, I
Yeah.
really think that's not, you know, I don't see the
Mm.
problem. You know, like I said, Australia, you have people down the beach of all ages, like just
Mm-hmm.
wandering around without shirts on. I mean,
Yeah.
considering the instance of skin cancer, they probably should, but
No.
you know,
Yeah.
that's another story altogether.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have you know, I mean, you know how I used to be when I was younger. I used to wander around without a shirt on all the time, like constantly. It's and
Yeah.
that's outside, inside. You know, it's very rare to have like you have to wear a shirt to be in this bar or something. And you see people in
Yeah.
the shops just coming through, guys with no shirt on, girls in bikini tops. It
Yeah.
happens,
It
sure.
happens.
Nobody even bats an eyelid. Like
No.
honestly, nobody cares.
No.
It's just like, yeah, okay, you just came from the beach. Cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on.
Yeah. I mean, you lived at the beach
No one
practically
cares.
at one point.
I just feel that this is just an overreaction.
Yeah, I think she's got some other underlying issue that's not being brought up.
You are not the arsehole, but I'm curious about something. Are you and your partner both female? Is the cousin a male? I'm failing to understand what the issue was.
Yeah.
I'm male and my partner and cousin are females. Yeah, I kind of think that they're jealous.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're a female flashing a breast to a minor. Yeah, I feel that that's a bit,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay,
that's
even if
kind
the
of a bit
OG was
unfair.
female.
Not like you knew they were bringing a 16-year-old because
Yeah.
I often walk from the bathroom to my room with a shower with nothing on at all. Me too. Unless I know there's someone else whose paths I
Yeah.
may cross post shower. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Right.
yeah. Unless we'd have guests around or something, I would do the same. I'd, you know, just
Yeah.
throw a towel around me and wander over. Like I don't.
Yeah.
What's the problem here? What is the
Yeah.
problem here? This seems like a little bit of, you know, sort of just you know, shaming, nude shaming, body
Mm-hmm.
shaming, I
Yeah.
guess, for some reason. It's weird. It's very weird. Yeah, I think they're all going to say not the arsehole.
No.
Absolutely.
It's she could have easily like does she expect okay then okay so if the girlfriend's mad that he's shirtless with someone else
Mm,
around,
yes.
she's fine otherwise. But she didn't tell him that she was going to be having guests.
Right.
And if it's okay, maybe if the cousin was 18, are we saying that's okay? Is it the age of the cousin that's the problem? Because it seems to be coming up a lot that this cousin's the sheltered one and doesn't need protecting from that kind of behavior.
And mm,
And she's not saying that out loud either. She just says it's not appropriate. Is she saying it's not appropriate for a 16-year-old girl to see a guy shirtless, and in which case that's silly? Or is she saying it's because it's her cousin and she doesn't want to like yeah, and
yeah,
if
and
the
Andrew's
girl's
got a
walking
good
around
point.
topless, yep.
It's like if a mother is breastfeeding a child, what's the problem? Yeah, it's
Hmm.
just a thing of life. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
agree. I
yeah.
agree.
Breastfeeding shouldn't be a big deal. It is conservatism at play. It is a lot of conservative expectation that you modesty. It's modesty that's the issue. What your definition of what modesty is. Because, like that girl defined thing, they came out later and went, we don't know what modesty actually means in the Bible. Modesty, we're just like, We were just told to
Mm.
cover up. We don't know what that means in context. Is
Yeah.
covering up entirely clad in fabric, or is it just, keeping certain areas of your body covered
Mm.
up? Like
I
modesty
think
is subjective.
religion may not have created, but it definitely has exacerbated the sort of body
Yes,
shaming and
correct.
this sort of nudity taboo and stuff.
Yeah,
I absolutely agree with that.
yeah,
Um, at that age, based on my family of origin, I would have thought seeing a person wearing only boxes would not be appropriate for me to see in somebody else's home. Yeah, nano blooms. I get that it's sort of a moral taboo in some countries. It's not in others, and I think that I don't have a problem with it. I mean, we can't really say, "Hey, is this against somebody else's moral code?" All we can do is apply our own. And I don't see a problem with it. But I get that that would be taboo in some other countries. It's just I don't live there, and I don't see the need. So um, I don't think there was any intention to harm human well-being. I just think it's normal.
it was a misunderstanding. I don't think it's worth blowing it out of proportion
Mm,
to this degree. All she had to say was, "Hey, do you mind, just putting a shirt on if I have people over?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I'll try to be,
yeah.
I'll be wary of it, but she needs to communicate." This is some of this has come out of a lack of communication on her part that
Oh, a
she's not
lot of
taking
these are.
responsible for. Yeah.
A lot of these
What
are
we
like
have
that's
is a
something I've
failure to
noticed.
communicate.
And that's what I've said on multiple occasions. Actually, a lot of this stuff, through the Am I the Answer, it really is a failure to communicate. Like a lot of them are.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a
I think
misunderstanding or
I'll
an
do
apprehension.
one more. How do you feel about just doing one more
One more, yeah.
before we go?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
This is tricky. Whereas 8585. Am I the arsehole? I didn't tell my boyfriend my son was adopted. I
Dun dun dun.
I don't. I mean, a boyfriend. I think it depends how serious. I guess, like if you're looking to get married, but if it's just a boyfriend, I'm not sure that that's really something you have to tell him.
No.
I Why does it matter that much? I mean, your son is your son, regardless of whether he's adopted or not. So I don't see that as being the answer. Actually, I'm going to upvote that. That was good. That was a good one. Okay. I, 35 female, have a 10-year-old son we'll call Arthur. I adopted him when he was 2 as his godparent after his mother passed away and his father was never in the picture. Arthur has always had trouble making friends, but he made a great one this year, a 10-year-old boy in his grade who we'll call Elliot. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
10-year-old son. I didn't plan on it, but Elliot's father, 38 male, who we'll call Edward, and I became very close. We came from very different backgrounds. Edward grew up in a stable, high-income home, mostly raising Elliot in Europe until a year and a half ago when they moved to our area. I grew up in a poor family and was raised by my uncle after my mother died. This is like a life story. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I had a rough childhood and was involved in crime when I was younger, but I've been on the straight and narrow for Arthur's sake.
Okay.
Arthur's the son, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, that's Elliot. Oh, no, 10-year-old
Elliot's
son
the.
will call Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Elliot's father. I didn't want my relationship with Edward. Oh, for fuck's sake. Who's Edward?
Edward was
Um,
the 38
the
male Elliot's
right.
father. Yeah. Okay, so she didn't want the relationship with
Edward
the
and I
Edward
became
guy.
very close. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't want my relationship with Edward to affect Arthur and Elliot's friendship, but after agreeing that the boys would always come first, we began loosely dating over a year ago.
Right.
Okay, so your son made a friend and you felt
Dated the dad.
something for the father. You dated the dad. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, Arthur got really sick while Edward was watching him. I was an hour away fixing something at a friend's house, and Edward took Arthur to the ER when things got worse. His appendix had burst. Ouch. When I got there, Arthur was in surgery and went into anaphylactic shock due to the anesthetic. The doctors started asking about family medical history, and I couldn't provide any information since I'm not biologically related to Arthur. I never knew his mother's family.
Right.
Right. After his mother had passed away as his godparent. Okay, so she adopted her friend's kid. Oh, that's so
Right.
sweet of her.
Yeah. but they don't have anything which
as
is
his
common.
godparent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Edward tried to help, but I was panicked and lashed out, saying Arthur wasn't my biological son. Edward walked away to give me space. Arthur's fine now, but he had some complications and spent a few weeks in the hospital. Since then, Edward and I have barely spoken because of the argument that followed. Okay, so she was basically panicked and sort of said, well, I'm not even related to him. How can I come up with that information? No, I get that. It's a tough situation. Yeah.
Right.
Ed was upset that I hadn't told him Arthur was adopted. I can understand why, but it never came up, and I didn't see the point in mentioning it. I wasn't hiding it, but I didn't have concrete plans to tell him either. The situation escalated, and we both said hurtful things. I brought up Elliot's mother, who I knew nothing about. I didn't really care about her, but I made it seem like I did. From what I knew, Edward had raised Elliot on his own. I feel like our situations are similar, but Edward insists they are different. He says that it's relevant that Arthur isn't biologically mine, but I don't think it changes anything. I didn't want Arthur to know he was adopted before he could fully understand. Oof.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and that brings up a good
layer.
question. When do you tell a
The
child they're
kid, yeah.
adopted?
Right.
I think being upfront, I think at 10-year-old, I kind of think you probably should have told him by then.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think so. Yeah, again, it's subjective
I
as to
I
what's a good time.
right, but I think that sort of them finding out at like 15, 16 is a really bad idea.
But this sounds like an episode of House. Like the kid doesn't know they're adopted until there's a medical emergency and the parents have to own up to the fact they know nothing
That's
about the
true.
kid. This
That's
is an
true.
episode of House. I'm sorry, we've been watching
Yeah,
way too much of that show.
you're absolutely right though. You're 100% right. It
Yeah,
is, isn't it?
it comes out in the wash regardless. It'll come out at
Yeah,
some
yeah.
point because situations
Yeah,
like this happen.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think telling a child early is kind of, but explaining to them that it doesn't change anything about how much you love them or anything like that is really important. I don't know. I just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've never had an argument like this before. The only time we've had a similar conversation when I told him about my past, I felt like that was relevant because it directly involved me. He was understanding then, and there wasn't nearly as much conflict. Now, I'm unsure if not telling him about Arthur was the right decision. He's a kind man, but this caught me off guard, and both said things we regret. I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's not something like I think Eggsy Music said you don't
Yeah,
just blithely blurt it out in conversation either. It's a difficult topic, and
yeah.
sometimes you just don't find the right time to bring it up until something happens.
The
Sometimes
last
yeah.
The last poll is split evenly between poster is morally right, poster is morally wrong, and no one is immoral. So, what?
The shirtless
Okay,
one.
yeah, apparently
Shirtless
so.
McGee.
I
Okay.
thought that was like a slam dunk on no problem, but apparently not.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the length of time that you've known each other would be a big consideration. Yeah.
but I don't see how it's relevant to his situation. Like, I just don't
To
see
the
how it's
boyfriend.
relevant. Yeah, the boyfriend, like, he's with her. That's her son. How has being adopted changed any of that? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because he's acting like, well, you're not technically a parent. Again, this is this notion of you're not a parent if you haven't physically given life to a child. I think some people
right.
really do think that. They don't understand that parent doesn't have to mean
That's
biological.
weird. That's weird. Like,
I think people do think that.
yeah, but that's weird. That's
It is
just
weird.
weird because you are a parent is somebody that raises a child. Like, whether or not you physically gave birth to them is not. Hey, he didn't give birth to a child either, technically. Like, let's face it.
Yeah.
That was his wife or, whoever.
It's him. It's like biology is relevant to the conversation. She's saying it's not. Like
I
Arthur
mean,
isn't biologically yours. So what?
I mean, she said that he made a great friend this year, right?
Yeah.
So she's only been with him for a year. It has been like, I mean, that's a long-term relationship. I get you, but it hasn't been that long.
No. If she hasn't let it go for like another 10 years before she said anything.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand him being upset, being caught off guard because you're in an emergency situation
Yeah.
and you don't know what to say. And maybe he was annoyed that, well, if I'd had that information, that's one thing. But now he's acting like, well, he's not even your kid. It's
Yeah,
like, well,
you haven't
you're
been honest with me.
no,
Yeah, but I just don't. It doesn't like she's lied about him.
no.
I don't
It's not a lie
know.
by omission. It's just omission. It's just if he's assumed that she is the mother of that kid, that's his assumption to
Hmm.
make. She
Yeah.
doesn't have to correct that unless it's pertinent, which it only is because the child was in danger. That then
Right.
it becomes
Right.
pertinent information. Before
Maybe
prior to
he's
that,
more. Maybe he's more sort of angry about the way she lashed out at him,
eh,
kind of thing. Maybe
yeah,
that's what the issue is. But I don't know.
yeah,
I don't see her as
no,
an arsehole. I just see it as you've been with the guy for less than a year,
yeah,
and you haven't told him that your boy is adopted. I don't.
right.
I,
And
I
you're
don't
factoring in
think
that the
it's
kid doesn't know.
right. The kid doesn't know, right? But I don't think it's that big a deal. It's still your son.
Hmm.
I don't see how it like. What does it actually change if he knows that he's adopted? Absolutely nothing.
It
Like I
shouldn't.
don't.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. It's still your son. He's
yeah.
still important to you. I don't, if he's saying, well, I don't have to love this child because it's not your biological son, then
Right.
he's an
That's
absolute
absolute
prick
arsehole.
because
Yeah, that's
that's
the worst thing to
horrible.
say. What you
Right.
like?
But I
Would you
don't
have like? Yeah,
I don't think that's the case here, but it's really
right.
it's really freaking weird
So
why he has an
so is
issue at all.
he? Yeah, is he saying that? Okay, well, if I'd known this kid wasn't your kid, I wouldn't have even bothered taking them to hospital. Like, because
Um
why am I looking after a kid that's not your kid? Like,
I
he
don't
did the
think so. I
responsible
don't think
thing.
so.
No, he did. He took the kid to the ER and then found out it wasn't her kid. Like, that's how it happened. It's just a bad
Yeah.
situation. It's not worth getting
So
upset
I
about.
feel like our situations are similar, but Edwards insists they're different. He says it's
Yeah.
relevant that Arthur isn't biologically mine, which is weird. Because I
No.
mean, she adopted him when he was 2.
Yeah.
Like
And
she's raised him
yeah.
for 8 years. You know, um, Elliot's father, Edward, has raised him for 10, presumably. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
that different.
No.
I don't know what the issue is. I don't know what this
And
guy's
she
problem
agreed.
is.
And she would have agreed when her friend said, "Hey, you're the godparent, you get custody." She's agreed to that, knowing that that's a possibility. I'm assuming
Right.
because I wouldn't ever put anybody in a will to say and then not tell them and find out after the person's
Right, right,
died.
right.
That like
Yeah.
I'm assuming she went into that knowing that the friend was possibly either sick or didn't know and needed to appoint a guardian. Like, is the friend was responsible and she appointed a guardian in her will or whatever, however that
Oh,
occurred.
godparent. So if someone names you godparent, tradition says that if the parents die, the godparent will take care of the children.
Correct.
Yeah,
If like without a will, that's actually really tenuous. But yeah, it is a tradition that the
that's
godparent.
true. Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's
but
more tradition
obviously,
than anything else.
right. Like apparently, my dad
Um,
said because he's Anglican, he can't have godparents. I don't even know if that's true.
really?
Yeah, it was weird. I
Okay.
just have a weird memory of him saying something like that. The godparents aren't a thing in some churches or something. I don't know. I'd have to look
Weird.
that up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Comment section says not the asshole. At this point, Arthur is a child. You are your mum. The details are nobody else's business. Well, yeah. I mean, I think that at some point you probably should tell your partner or husband or somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I said it's not you that hid this from Edward. It just never came up because it doesn't even sound like you think about it anymore. Yeah, I would agree with this poster. Like it sounds like it
Okay.
doesn't even cross her mind, which
Yeah.
is good. That's a good thing. That makes you a good person because you're not
Yeah.
even seeing, oh well, I have to have a biological connection for this to be my son. No,
Mm.
it doesn't even cross your mind at all. That's how good a person you are. No, I give this poster. Yeah, it definitely, definitely. Well, the details are at least the doctor's business. That is true. You are technically correct. The best form of correct. Your son is far too old not to know his adoption story. Yeah, I kind of agree with that, but I don't think it makes them an asshole. I think it just, yeah, I don't know about that one. Do you think they should have told the kid already?
Me?
Yeah,
Um, again, it's I think somebody in the comments said that they were told early on and that was the best thing for them. Again, it's subjective because is the kid better off not knowing? Probably not. should they?
No, definitely not.
How long? But yeah, the question is, how long do you let that child go on with the delusion, the illusion that they're not adopted? I don't
Well,
know.
this person says we start telling babies before they are verbal. Your choice is true is at birth abusive and will cause them trauma. Yeah,
Yeah,
a
that's
10-year-old.
no, yeah,
Well, 10 years old, kids understand a lot more than you think.
right.
Because he is so old, you need to find a family therapist immediately, work with them to tell his boy his history right away and help him process his birth mother's death. Don't forget that you go to like kindy at 4 or 5, right?
Yeah,
Four.
right. Yeah.
So, you've been in primary school for 6 years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that if someone told me at 10 years old that I was adopted, it would crush me. Like, if
Yeah,
I had no idea, I think
right.
that, sort of saying, hey, being a, adopted child is completely normal and nothing to be ashamed of straight up
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
would probably be the way to go. And you don't have to tell anybody outside of the family, but
No.
just sort of letting you know that you are loved within the family, but that's the
Yeah.
origin of your birth is
Yeah.
probably. So I do agree with a little bit. She wasn't an arsehole to the guy, but she may have been
Yeah.
an arsehole to the child here.
Yeah. I mean, unless the mother, like, unless the mother's was like, you don't have to tell him, or don't tell him until he's X age, or like, I don't
Yeah.
know whether she had a reason. I'd say it would be relevant for them to avoid as much as possible them finding out in the worst possible way, like again by
Mm.
accident, because that could have been the moment he found out was he's in hospital and he finds out he's adopted at 10 during a traumatic experience. Like maybe just try
Mm.
and have control over how they find out. Make sure that they're aware of it, because again, it might just come up. It's going to come out
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
okay, the chances of it not coming out are slimmer than they are if you keep it a secret forever. Like letting somebody get to 40 and then telling them they're adopted is absurd.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
absurd.
and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can imagine people would have tried to do that, but it was like the thing of, do you tell the kid that they have a disease at a certain age because it affects other people? Do you tell the kid that they've got a disability? Because there's the argument about, well, if we don't tell the kid they've got this disability, they'll think they're normal and they'll never, they'll be fine if we just pretend that this disability doesn't exist because it's a developmental thing. They grow up completely screwed up because you didn't tell them that they had ADHD or other disorders that were keeping them from being treated the same in society. I don't think adopted kids don't get treated badly, but they do have, people react to that differently than if you say that you're, the biological kid. Like everyone just sort of assumes kids are biologically related to parents until they're told otherwise, unless they see some discrepancy that yeah.
Anna Bloom says length of time they know each other be a big consideration. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
Andrew, he cheated and is looking for a way out not to get. Jeez, Andrew, like really? Okay, he's joking. Fair enough.
oh, that's
Uh,
huge.
None of his business until she wants to tell him. Yeah, I kind
Yeah,
of
the
do agree with
boyfriend,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like she
yeah,
she again, she might not have thought it was relevant for the boyfriend to know. If he, as she probably didn't even think he would react this way. I think it's a weird reaction to have. If it were me, I'd be like, well, that's really sweet. Like that makes you a good person for doing that and stepping up and deciding to parent a child that isn't yours. That's commendable. Why should I berate you for not being the biological parent?
yeah. I agree. Over a year or very, very serious, but it sounds
Yeah,
like they're coming up on that. I think it's
yeah,
just sort of bad timing.
yeah.
I
It
don't
is
think it
just a
needs
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It
Extra
doesn't need to be
possible
that
gifts
dramatic.
that X-Men. The kid's parents are dead, dude. Like, come on now. I don't think
You overcompensate. We have to
Edward's
overcompensate
going to
now.
be a controlling mate. Which one's Edward? Oh,
The
the husband.
boyfriend,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the
She dodged a
I
bullet.
like. Uh, I don't think they're
Uh,
breaking up over it though. I think it was a
no, I don't
discussion
think
that
so.
maybe he was angry that they didn't have earlier on. Would that have changed his attitude to her? Because I've heard of other people, like if you date someone who doesn't have a kid and you've got kids, then you don't date them because they don't have kids, or it would have changed his perspective of her had he known that she was just looking after a child and wasn't was biologically
Well,
responsible, which is crap.
what if? what if the reaction was him showing interest, but he didn't? So, and
Yeah.
it's kind of, it would have been nice. Would have been nice,
Mm.
but and Majestic says 4 to 6, depending on the child. Yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah,
think
I
most
think,
of the Redditors are sort of saying, but I think that's
yeah,
reasonable.
yeah, when
That's
they can
when
form
those
memories.
exactly. I was just about to say that. Yeah, that's when you're sending them to primary, to preschool and primary to sort of, you start to get long-term memory formation. Yeah, absolutely. And so
Yeah.
I agree. Well, that was the last one we're doing. I think that's a really good session. How did you find your first aimbot being in the spotlight and making moral judgments, consensually and solicited moral judgments?
It's good. It was fun.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hope you
it was
enjoyed
fun.
yourself.
I did have
Okay,
fun. I had a lot of thoughts though.
you did. You always have a lot of thoughts. What are you talking about?
I
That's
have a
why
lot
you're
of
here.
thoughts. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you had a lot of thoughts instead of no thoughts at all. I mean, if
Right.
you
If
had
I
no
just,
thoughts at all, that would be a
it'd be a
problem.
very
Yes,
boring conversation.
absolutely.
But
But it wasn't.
yeah, I just felt there was a trend with these. A lot of it was just, I know that's it's random, but all of them were like family based. I found that interesting that they weren't,
Yeah.
except well, even the shirtless one because it was like a cousin.
Yes. Yeah.
But everything there was a thread of family expectation. I think we had a theme, an
Yeah.
unexpected theme going on.
Well, I mean, you'd notice a trend on these things. It's either
Mm.
marriages, family outings, and sort of birthdays and celebrations kind of thing. Like, oh, you went to my uncle's birthday and he was drunk, and I told him to, sit the fuck down because you're drunk, and was
Yeah.
I the arsehole kind of thing, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I see common threads through all of these, which is interesting. That the same moral quandaries come up in the same set of circumstances, and of course they're
Right.
always social, because
Yeah.
morality is social. Yeah,
Yeah. No, it was good. It was fun.
it's good. Well, don't forget, as always, be kind to
Mhm.
yourself,
Yes.
be kind to each other,
Mhm.
and I guess we will see you in the next one.
Yep.
But this was fun. Have
Thank you
a
for
good
having
day or
me.
night. Oh, you're welcome. My voice actually feels a lot better today,
Oh,
which
that's
is just
good.
goes to show that, just
Mhm.
breaking it up a bit is great.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you,
Say
everybody.
goodbye.
Bye.